Welcome back to Quasarianth, the podcast that takes you on a thrilling journey through the vast and mysterious multiverse, where each realm is teeming with wonders and dangers beyond imagination. In Part 2, witness the emergence of new creatures born from the experiment, each with their own desires and agendas, and the growing tension among factions vying for control. As the balance of power shifts and the creatures' demands become more insistent, the nexus that governs their creation is thrown into turmoil. As the crew continues to explore the galaxy and build new creatures, they begin to attract the attention of a mysterious entity known as the Nexus. The Nexus is a powerful being that is responsible for maintaining balance in the universe, and it is curious about the crew's use of advanced technology to create life. At first, the crew is unaware of the Nexus's interest in them, but as they continue to build more and more creatures, they begin to notice strange occurrences on their ship. Equipment malfunctions, strange noises in the night, and other unexplained phenomena begin to plague the crew. One day, the crew receives a transmission from the Nexus. It warns them of the dangers of their technology, and tells them that they must stop their experiments immediately. The crew is shocked by the transmission, and they begin to wonder if they have gone too far. Despite the warning from the Nexus, the crew continues to build new creatures. They are driven by their desire to push the limits of what is possible with their technology, and they believe that they are doing good in the universe. As they build more creatures, the crew begins to experience even more strange occurrences on their ship. They start to realize that the Nexus is not just watching them, but actively trying to stop them. The crew must now decide whether to continue their experiments and risk the wrath of the Nexus, or to heed its warning and abandon their technology. They know that the future of their mission and the fate of the universe may rest in their hands. Despite the warnings from the Nexus, the crew continues to build more creatures. They are determined to push the boundaries of their technology and see how far they can go. However, as they continue to create more creatures, they begin to realize that they may have made a grave mistake. The creatures they have built are not like anything that exists in the universe. They have a power and a ferocity that the crew did not anticipate. One day, one of the creatures breaks free from its enclosure and begins to wreak havoc on the ship. It rampages through the halls, destroying equipment and injuring crew members. The crew is forced to take drastic measures to stop the creature. They deploy weapons and technology they have never used before, but they are unable to contain it. The situation becomes dire, and the crew realizes that they may have unleashed a force they cannot control. As they struggle to stop the creature, they begin to see the true danger of their creations. The creatures they have built are not just powerful, they are unpredictable and uncontrollable. They may have created something that could destroy them all. The crew must now face the consequences of their actions. They know that they must find a way to stop the creatures they have built before it's too late. They must find a way to undo what they have done and prevent any further damage to the ship and the universe. After the incident with the rampaging creature, the crew realizes that they need more resources to continue their mission. They have used up a significant amount of their supplies and equipment, and they need to restock if they are going to continue building creatures and exploring the universe. The crew decides to send a team to a nearby planet to gather resources. The planet is known for its abundance of rare and valuable materials, but it is also known to be dangerous. The crew prepares for the mission, equipping the team with the latest technology and weapons. As the team lands on the planet, they immediately encounter hostile creatures. They fight their way through, using their weapons and technology to overcome the obstacles. However, they soon discover that the planet is not as rich in resources as they had hoped. They find only a small amount of what they need and realize that they will need to search elsewhere. As they continue to explore the planet, they discover ancient ruins. The ruins appear to be the remnants of an advanced civilization that existed long ago. The team investigates the ruins, searching for any useful technology or resources they can find. After hours of searching, they come across a room that appears to be a laboratory. Inside, they find technology that is far more advanced than anything they have seen before. They realize that they have found something that could change the course of their mission. Back on the ship, the crew examines the technology they found on the planet. They are amazed at its capabilities and believe that it could be the key to their success in their mission. However, they soon realize that there is a problem. Some members of the crew want to use the technology to gain more power and control over the others. A power struggle begins as the crew members argue about what to do with the technology. Some want to use it to build even more powerful creatures and gain more control over the universe. Others believe that they should use it to improve their equipment and make their mission more successful. The crew members who want more power begin to form alliances and try to gain control of the technology. They begin to manipulate the other crew members, trying to convince them to join their side. The tension on the ship grows as the power struggle intensifies. Meanwhile, the creatures they have created continue to cause problems. They have become more intelligent and are starting to develop their own agendas. Some of the crew members begin to fear that the creatures could pose a threat to their safety. As the power struggle continues, the crew members must also deal with the growing threat of the creatures. They must find a way to contain them and prevent them from causing any more harm. The tension on the ship reaches a boiling point, and it becomes clear that something must be done to resolve the power struggle before it tears the crew apart. The power struggle on the ship intensifies, and factions begin to form among the crew members. Some believe that they should use the technology to build more creatures and gain more power, while others believe that they should use it to improve their equipment and complete their mission successfully. The factions become more organized, and they begin to hold secret meetings to plan their strategies. They try to gain support from other crew members and use any means necessary to achieve their goals. The crew members who want more power become more aggressive, and they start to intimidate the other crew members. They threaten to harm anyone who stands in their way and use the creatures they have created as weapons. The tension on the ship becomes unbearable, and the crew members become increasingly paranoid. They no longer trust each other, and they constantly watch their backs. As the factions become more entrenched, the crew members must decide which side they are on. Some try to remain neutral, but they soon find themselves targeted by both factions. The crew members who want more power are willing to use force to achieve their goals, and the other crew members are forced to defend themselves. Meanwhile, the creatures they have created continue to evolve and develop their own agendas. They are becoming more intelligent and are starting to work together to achieve their own goals. The crew members must find a way to control the creatures before they become too powerful. The situation on the ship becomes more dangerous by the day, and it becomes clear that something must be done to resolve the power struggle before it tears the crew apart. The crew members are caught in the middle of a power struggle between factions on the ship, but they also have to deal with the growing demands of the creatures they have created. The creatures are becoming more intelligent and are starting to make their own demands. At first, the creatures' demands are simple. They want food, water, and shelter, but as they become more intelligent, their demands become more complex. They want freedom, rights, and a say in how the ship is run. The crew members are conflicted. They have created these creatures and feel responsible for their well-being, but they also have a mission to complete. They are torn between their duty to the mission and their growing attachment to the creatures. As the creatures' demands grow, the crew members become increasingly divided. Some believe that the creatures should be treated like any other crew member, while others believe that they should be treated like tools and discarded when they are no longer useful. The factions on the ship start to take sides on the issue of the creatures, and it becomes clear that the creatures are becoming a major source of tension on the ship. The crew members who want more power see the creatures as a means to achieve their goals, while the others see them as living beings with rights. The situation becomes even more complicated when one of the creatures is injured during a mission. The crew members are forced to decide whether to prioritize the mission or the well-being of the creature. Their decision has far-reaching consequences and further divides the crew. As the creature's demands grow, the crew members realize that they cannot continue to ignore the issue. They must find a way to address the creature's needs while also completing their mission. The situation on the ship becomes even more tense, and it becomes clear that something must be done before it spirals out of control. The tensions on the ship continue to rise as the creature's demands become more insistent. The crew members who want more power over the ship start to use the creatures as leverage, and the situation begins to spiral out of control. As the factions on the ship become more entrenched, the crew members who care about the creatures begin to realize that they are losing control. They fear that the creatures will be used as weapons or discarded once they are no longer useful. The crew members who want more power start to manipulate the creatures to gain the upper hand. They promise them more rights and privileges if they help them take control of the ship. The creatures are caught in the middle and do not understand the implications of the situation. The crew members who care about the creatures try to reason with the others, but their efforts are in vain. The situation on the ship becomes more volatile, and it becomes clear that a reckoning is coming. As the control over the ship begins to slip, the crew members realize that they have made a grave mistake. They have created creatures that are too powerful to control, and they must find a way to restore order before it is too late. The creatures become more aggressive and start to lash out at the crew members who they see as a threat. The crew members are forced to defend themselves, and the situation on the ship becomes more dangerous. The crew members who care about the creatures realize that they must act fast to regain control. They start to work together to find a solution, but it may already be too late. As the situation on the ship reaches a boiling point, the crew members are forced to make a decision. They must choose between their loyalty to the mission and their responsibility to the creatures they have created. The consequences of their decision will determine the fate of the ship and the creatures they have brought into being. The tension on the ship has reached a breaking point, and the situation is spiraling out of control. The crew members who care about the creatures are fighting a losing battle against those who want more power, and the creatures are caught in the middle. As the struggle for control reaches a climax, a new threat emerges. The Nexus, the organization that sent the crew on their mission, becomes aware of the chaos on the ship and sends a team to investigate. The arrival of the Nexus team throws the ship into further chaos. The crew members who want more power see the Nexus as a threat, and the crew members who care about the creatures see them as a potential ally. The Nexus team is shocked by what they find on the ship. They realize that the crew members have created creatures that are too powerful to control, and they must find a way to contain the situation before it is too late. As the Nexus team tries to take control of the situation, they are met with resistance from the crew members who want more power. The situation on the ship becomes even more volatile, and it is clear that a resolution must be found quickly. The crew members who care about the creatures realize that they must work with the Nexus team to find a solution. They understand that they cannot control the creatures alone, and they need the help of the Nexus to bring the situation under control. The Nexus team and the crew members who care about the creatures work together to find a solution. They realize that they must find a way to communicate with the creatures and understand their needs if they are to bring the situation under control. As they work to find a solution, they realize that the creatures are not just mindless beasts. They have intelligence and emotions, and they must be treated with respect and empathy. The crew members and the Nexus team finally reach a solution. They find a way to communicate with the creatures and understand their needs. They promise to give them more autonomy and treat them with respect, and the creatures respond positively. With the situation on the ship finally under control, the crew members and the Nexus team set their sights on their mission once again. They realize that they have learned a valuable lesson about the dangers of playing God, and they vow to use their new understanding to create a better future for themselves and the creatures they have created.